Being a mother, being a wife, being a business owner, not knowing when we will return to normal, having to have the courage to get out of bed every morning and strive to survive. Rebecca Bonnici, owner and CEO of BELS, a pair of medium-sized English language schools, one located in St. Paul's Bay on Malta and the other one in Kercham on Gozo, where we teach English as a foreign language to students from all over the globe, with age ranges from 4 to 87. Look, the first effects of COVID were felt by the language schools was probably towards the end of February, when Italy began to shut down and began to put restrictions on its population due to the pandemic. Our island at that time of year benefits from school groups that come to Malta, whereby they not only learn English within the full immersion scenario, but they enjoy our cultural venues, they learn about the culture, the way of life of Malta and Gozo, whilst speaking the English language. So we have a very unique product in that we are close to a lot of countries in Europe. We were very well connected. We have history, we have nature, and we have an English language environment. In the end of February, we received our first cancellation for such groups. And the process was very quick, whereby we received masses of cancellations, masses of requests for refunds that we had to entertain, like it or not, because a few weeks later, all 35 English language schools on the islands of Malta and Gozo were closed by government edict for 3 months. In those 3 months, we sustained blow after blow, whereby not only students cancelled, but foreign language partners lost faith in the Maltese product, but airlines also began to cancel their connections to our tiny islands. When we were eventually allowed to reopen, the health ministry advised us on what protocols we were to follow if we wanted to be allowed to open. Schools made massive investments to prepare not only the classrooms, but also the buildings and the residences and the accommodation where our students live, sustaining great losses because we had to reduce the number of students we had, not only in class, but also in bedrooms, also in the common areas in our schools, in order to be able to reopen our doors. What we saw as an evolution of how our product was being delivered, whereas before we were probably 90% focused on delivering in-class, full immersion language courses, because of the closure and because we so desperately wanted to survive the closure as a company, as an organization. As a team, we immediately launched our online school. Our company invested in technology, invested in an online platform, whereby we were able to deliver communicative, integral English language lessons to students who were marooned on our island because they could no longer fly back home, but to students who were booked to attend our classes, could not come to us because we were on lockdown, but still wanted to participate in the learning experience. So we became a language school that was dialing in students from all over the world. Depending on their English language level, they were pre-tested, put into classes where we were able to teach them using still the communicative approach, but this time through the internet, through our language platform, through very, very dedicated academic staff, through masses, hundreds of thousands of euros of investment, not only in the hardware, not only in the internet connection, but also in materials that had to be adapted for the new medium. It was by no means enough to cover our costs, but at least we were able to keep our employees in work. And for me, that was the goal. The families, like the employees, have been great. Of course, there was fear initially, fear of this disease that we knew so little about, fear of letting people into their homes that could possibly be carriers of a virus that we were all scared of because we had lost friends and family to it. But the families like the owners, like the employees, are resilient. The families want to work. The families, when we opened our schools, when we opened our classes, also welcomed students into their homes. They welcomed them with the same degree of warm hospitality, welcoming atmosphere and environment that we did pre-COVID. The host families are one of the unique selling points of what product Malta has to offer for English language students coming from all over the world. When it comes to aid that the language schools have received from the government, I think the one on the forefront that we need to highlight is the fact that English language schools were placed on the most affected list for the COVID wage supplement. The reality is businesses have many more costs. Businesses have sustained many more losses, and that aid that we have received by way of finances is nowhere near enough. We want to be able to work. We are not asking for handouts. I'd like to think of myself as an independent businesswoman, but for the past 12 months, I found myself begging the government for aid, be it financial aid, be it the aid to increase connectivity back to our islands, be it the wish to open our schools in a safe manner. Don't get me wrong, we are aware of the risks that are involved and we are ready to be safe, but we want to work. We need to welcome students into our schools in order to be able to keep our employees in employment. And we need the government, we need the health authorities to understand that the aid we have received is very, very welcome, that the ears that we have found have been absolutely brilliant by way of support. But now we need action. We need our schools to have a date when they can reopen. We need to tell our partners overseas. We need to tell the 2,000 students that are on the islands at the moment, waiting to go back into classroom, when they can do so. We need action. The time for encouragement has passed. We now need to know when we can reopen. We are willing to continue to be safe, but we need a date. We cannot be left in limbo. We cannot be misinformed about when we will reopen if we still have an airport that is telling tourists they are welcome to come to our islands. One thing that sticks in the craw of the English language schools and the people who work within the schools is that shops selling electronics have been allowed to have people in store purchasing any sort of device or any material that they may be selling. People have been allowed to continue with Malta's favorite pastime, which is gaming. Lotto booths, gaming parlors have been left to open, to continue to operate throughout this quasi-lockdown that our country has endured for the past 4 weeks. Schools have finally been given a date and a staggered approach as to when it is they're allowed to open. But language schools seem to have been forgotten. The government seems to have forgotten the 2,000 students that are already on island, 2,000 students that accepted to stay here for 4 weeks to learn English online in the hope that they will soon be allowed back into school. Yet no date has been given to language schools as to when we will be allowed to reopen. I think the most difficult thing is being a mother, being a wife, being a business owner, not knowing when we will return to normal, having to have the courage to get out of bed every morning and strive to survive, having the will to survive, but not the energy, because it's been 12 really hard months. We want to work. We want to be happy again. We want to thrive. We want to be healthy. But we are lacking the tools. We are lacking the guidance. We are lacking the strategy as a country to at least have a roadmap, a clear roadmap, a clear indication of the stages of our return to normality. I feel that we need to be led with more vigor, with more direction, with clear objectives, with clear goalposts. As a citizen, as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, as somebody who is responsible for my employees, I need to know that there is a higher power that has more clarity than me. So the most difficult thing for me has been I think the sector has hope. The country has hope. The reality is our biggest competitor historically is England. England, as we all know, has lived through Brexit, is continuing to live through Brexit. So we have fruit that is ripe for the picking, in that students who can no longer go to England to learn English as a foreign language can come to Malta. We need to make sure we are ready for them. What does this mean? We have flight connections that are resumed. We've lost over 70% of connectivity to our island. That our visa processing system is responsive, is efficient, that we send a message out there that we are open, that we are safe, and we are willing. We want to do business. English language schools have sustained massive financial losses over the past 12 months. Last year was a loss-making year. This year, we hope, we strive to at least be able to cover our costs. The reality is we probably will not see profits this year. We most likely will not see any next year. But the will to work is there, the want to work is there. Why? Because we're passionate about teaching English to the world. Malta has always welcomed foreigners to its shores. We are an English-speaking nation. We are the best equipped to teach you English as a foreign language. We want to welcome you to the English language schools on Malta and on Gozo. We hope to do so in a safe way and let you leave the country not only with an education, but experience of our beautiful Mediterranean island, which has the potential to give you the most beneficial, life-changing educational experience.